This next comic is somebody who I love to do shows with. He is the man who introduced me earlier today, but besides that, he was a finalist at the Aragona's Comedy Best New Comic Contest right here at Barton's Place. And since that time, he has done shows at Dangerfields, Broadway, Greenwich, all over New York City, all over Long Island. Please put your hands together, very funny, Mr. Jim Tepedino!
A round of applause for Mr. John Butera. Come on, Aragona's Comedy. Yo, Alex, the last time we did a show together, I went on right after you, which makes me look even shorter. If that is even possible. Thank you guys for coming out. I'm really grateful to be back on my feet. I was in an accident about 17 months ago. I was kind of messed up for a while, but I'm walking just about normal again, except for a little bit of a limp, which is commonly confused at this point as swag, which is what I'm all about. But after having spent 3 months in the hospital, I definitely have a different view on healthcare, in particular with nurses. I always give nurses a lot of credit. They have a really tough job, they work long hours. They gotta be willing to do a lot of things that I just frankly wouldn't be willing to do. But I'm gonna tell you guys, there's always two sides to a coin. Because not all nurses are blonde hair with big tits that give you sponge baths and hand jobs all day. You know? It's not like the old days. And not all of them are women either, I found out. I remember one time it was time to get my sponge bath. I asked the nurse if she'd give me my sponge bath. She told me that she was going off shift, but then she was gonna send Leslie in and give me my sponge bath. So I was waiting patiently in my hospital room, and about 5 minutes later I heard somebody come in and I heard, "James, bed 2B. My name's Leslie. I'm here to give you your sponge bath." I swear, my butthole never puckered up so quick in my life. I was like, "James? Never heard of him." You got the wrong room, buddy. You turn around and go find that James. Sounds like he needs your help. A little bit about myself, guys. I'm half Italian, half Puerto Rican. But I find as the summer months come around, my Puerto Rican side starts to come out a little bit more. My skin gets darker. I like to spend all my time outside in the sun. And most importantly, not work. Just one of our defining characteristics. Ooh. Ouch. Here's a fun fact. The sheep actually has the most human-like vagina out of any animal in the animal kingdom. Which I thought was a disgusting fact. At first. Till I went down to the local petting zoo and I was like, "Burn that shit up." Alright guys, this is highbrow stuff, so I need you to buckle up. It's gonna be a rough ride. Had a birthday recently, just turned 34. Yeah, thank you. It's a little bit older to be getting into comedy. A lot of my friends and family ask me, "So, Jimmy, why comedy? Why now, And it was something, I had to think about, something I've always wanted to do. I'm not getting any younger. And I think I'm getting too old to go back into midget porn at this point. I think the window of opportunity has closed on that. But the good thing about midget porn was my cock looked fucking huge. And those little midget hands, they used to call me Cockzilla. Look it up, people, it's real. Alright guys, transvaginal mesh, let's talk about it. Have you guys seen this commercial? Transvaginal mesh, bladder sling, pelvic sling. I had no idea that this was such a problem. In fact, I didn't even know what transvaginal mesh was. I did find out that it's something that goes into the uterus from damage done by childbirth or whatever it is that you're into down there. But I thought transvaginal mesh was like a permanent diaphragm for like the whore on the go. Woman goes into the doctor's office and she's like, "Listen, doc, I'm gonna level with you here. I'm banging like 20, 30 guys a week. I don't got time to be prepping the diaphragm, putting the diaphragm in, taking it out, cleaning it. Just give me the fucking mesh. And sometimes I feel like even more people should laugh at that joke. But then I think that the people that aren't laughing are women that are like, transvaginal mesh, you say? Like where you're headed with this. I don't care too much for your comedy, but you're an idea, man, and I like that. Right. A lot of people are ordering things directly from China. I try to save some money. I had an ex-girlfriend that wanted me to order a sex toy, so I figured, hey, let's order from China and try to save some money. So I ordered one of those extra large vibrating dildos from China. It was 4 inches. That's 3.5 inches bigger than what she's used to, so everybody made out on that deal. Now, Jimmy, you need some consistency in your comedy because a few jokes ago you were Cockzilla, and now all of a sudden you're making fun of your penis size. You gotta get your story straight. People want facts. That's why they come to comedy shows. Getting into designer clothes, like to look good. But I was really shocked at how expensive some of these clothes really are. And I'm not talking about like Michael Kors, Kenneth Cole, Calvin Klein. I'm talking like Gucci, Ferragamo, Armani. I was in an Armani store recently. I picked out a shirt, went into the dressing room to try it on. Halfway through, I see a tag that says $600 for a fucking shirt. So I figured, what the hell, I tried it on. And on the way out, I threw it at the woman that works there, and she insisted that I buy it, just because there was a few stains up on the top and lower back area. And I was like, listen, sweetheart, if I'm gonna take off all my clothes and drape something over me that costs $600, I gotta make sure I can take a few loads to the face. And frankly, I didn't live up to the task. So you could just go put that shit back on the rack. Saw a sign recently that said, Helen Keller, Services for the Blind. Who is that sign for? That's it, that's the whole joke. I think the only clean joke, perhaps. Still making fun of blind people. Alright guys, I'm in recovery, used to do a lot of drugs. Wasn't very good at anything when I did drugs. But I always like to think like what I would have been good at in terms of a career path. And I think when I did cocaine, I definitely would have been good at sales. Because I was able to talk a lot. I was able to stay up real long hours. And I was able to sell just about anything. In fact, I sold everything. I sold all my shit, my family shit, my neighbor's shit, fake shit. I even tried to sell a Shih Tzu. Called up my dealer and I was like, yo, my nigga, I got a Shih Tzu here. Fucking pedigree. He's cute as shit. Let me hold something, man. Let me hold something. Let me get a 20. I was thinking about putting out a book series for drug users. I was thinking about putting out a sequel to the popular book, The Power of Now, which for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's a book that encourages the reader to focus on the importance of now. So I was gonna put out one for Possible Ones. It's called The Power of Later. I'll do that shit later, much later. Wait, what was I doing? I realize it's a long title, but I was thinking about putting out another book. It's called 7 Effective Ways to Smash All Your Hopes and Dreams, Crack Cocaine. I was thinking about putting out a sequel, but let's face it, the reader's just gonna sell the book for crack money anyway, so. Here's the third one. This one's actually my favorite. It's a duo set. It's called Crystal Meth for Dummies. And the companion book, Do It Yourself, Dentistry. That might come in handy for them. Very paranoid drug user. I think that all drugs have their own type of paranoia, but they all have one thing in common. I think they all have to do with either laughing or talking. Like, for example, when I used to smoke weed, I used to think that all my friends were laughing at me. When I used to sniff coke, I used to think that all my friends were talking about me. And when I used to drop acid, I used to think that all my friends were laughing hyenas. And when I used to smoke crack, I used to think that all my friends were... Alright, let's be honest. At that point, I didn't have any friends. But I did look out the window a lot. That's gotta come for something. All right, guys, people are really sticklers for rules lately. There was a period of time when my internet was out, so I went to the local library to use the internet. And, you know, I'd go around lunchtime, and I was real hungry, so I would get myself a little bite to eat, a little sandwich, a little drink, and I would sneak that shit in, you know, and I'd be on the computer, and I'd be taking little bites, little sips, you know. All of a sudden, this little librarian comes over, and she taps me on the shoulder, and she's like, "Excuse me, sir, you can't watch pornography in here? This is the library." I was like, "Listen, it doesn't say that anywhere on the sign. You guys are gonna have to be more specific about what we can and cannot do in here." In other news, bail is getting expensive lately. All right, guys, you've been great. Thank you so much.